The one thing that just blew our socks off last year in terms of herbs was a variety of basil that we tried from Johnny's. I love basil. We love basil. We use it in caprese salads, fresh tomatoes sliced with balsamic vinegar and extra virgin olive oil and some fresh mozzarella and fresh julienned basil. It's also great on margarita pizzas and all kinds of other stuff. And in the past, we have grown regular old Genovese basil. It's the standard in basil. It's probably what you get 3/4 of the time when you go to the grocery store. But it doesn't hold well in the garden. It goes to seed very quickly. It goes to flower and then seed. It's susceptible to an assortment of wilts and cruds and this and that and the other thing. Downy mildew gets it really badly. And last year when I was thinking about buying seeds, I knew I didn't really need to grow any more Genovese because it's normally self-seeding in our yard. We have it popping up in various beds. But I watched a video from Johnny's, and Johnny selects seeds just like Haas. They have YouTube channels. And Haas does a huge number of videos about how to grow things and all that kind of stuff. Johnny's does fewer how to grow videos, but they do a lot of product announcements videos. So if they have something new come out, they'll put out a video about it. And one of the things they put out a video about last year was Prospera Compact, it really rolls off your tongue, DMR F1 organic seeds, right? It's a type of downy mildew resistant basil. They developed it for their market gardeners, for the people who are producing that basil that goes into your grocery store. And I said, what the heck? It's supposed to go to seed much more slowly. It's not supposed to get crazy. It's not supposed to get whacked by downy mildew. And I grew some. OMG. Just awesome. Flavor's delicious. It tastes just as good as Genovese. But I still have, right now, let me go in the kitchen here and get it. I'll bring it in. It's looking a little shaggy now. Okay, just before we knew everything was going to freeze to death this fall, I went in the greenhouse and I grabbed some cuttings of Genovese basil and I threw them, as you can see. This is an Aunt Nellie's pickled beets jar. And I do save some jars like that. And this has got no dirt in it. This is just, roots. They rooted, the stuff rooted. And we've been eating off this basil plant, which is finally starting to get kind of shaggy, since October. It's got great roots. It might actually perk back up again if I plant it in dirt. I've thought about that. I keep not getting around to it because I'm afraid that somehow the process, sometimes when you plant things in dirt, they're not as happy. I do need to give it some more water. But I am totally sold on this, just totally. So the Prospera, and the Prospera comes in different varieties. The video I initially saw was an end of season video where they were in the fields where they were growing basil. And they had rows and rows and rows of basil. And they had standard varieties like the Genovese. They had the greens and they had the red ones, and because there's different colors of basil. And it was end of season. It was probably late September, early October or something like that. And they look shaggy. The leaves are dying off. You'd have a hard time. You could pick individual leaves, but you'd have a hard time cutting nice branches to be able to sell in the store, things like that. And right next to it, literally 6 inches from the plants, on the other side of the row, is the Prospera. And it's looking practically pristine. And it's the end of the season. Now, everything gets a little shaggy at the end of the season. But not this stuff. It held on longer than anything else, and I was totally sold at that point. It comes in different sizes. We decided to get the compact variety, which is short. I think, if I'm thinking correctly, I think my plant got about that big. Now, the Genovese will normally get bigger than that and go totally crazy. This was much more compact, but it produced beautiful, well-formed, you know, delicious. Totally sold on that. So that is going to be a must this year. We will not plant any Genovese. I will keep the seed for now. We grew some thyme in the greenhouse at the end of the summer. I have 3 plants, and my goal is to plant that out into the yard this year. I used to have thyme in the yard. We had to move it because we were rebuilding the beds, and it didn't make it. It didn't like the move thing. So I have 3 different German winter thymes from Johnny's that I grew from seed. And we are going to be growing that thyme by moving it out. I may plant some new. The other herb that we will be definitely adding in more of this year again is Thai basil. We adore it. It's so yummy. Just the smell of it, even if we don't use it very much. We normally use it when we make Vietnamese spring rolls. And last year we just didn't make many. It just, I don't know. It just wasn't on the list of things. We didn't have as much cabbage at the right times because we like to use fresh, mild cabbage rather than lettuce. You can use lettuce, but to me it's much less flavorful. Lettuce is kind of like, you know, green water. There's not a lot of flavor to some varieties, and our lettuce at that point was pretty much done. It was summertime, so we just didn't use it as much. But to me it's just a must because of the smell. And I usually do harvest some. I noticed how expensive it was in the grocery store, so I dehydrated a bunch of the leaves, and I have a couple of jars of the Thai basil leaves in case I need it for a specific recipe. We will add more dill probably to our collection again this year. This is just a standard bouquet dill that Johnny's grows. We always have it. We've had both fern leaf and this is a really old pack of seeds, and bouquet. Henry loves pickly sort of things, so having the dill seeds, I collect the dill seeds and I'll save them. And then it's fun to be able to say, we made these pickles from our cucumbers and the dill seeds from our garden too. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. Other than that, we have in the yard peppermint and what else do we have out there? Something else. I'm drawing a giant blank. It's not tarragon. We have a couple of different kinds of herbs. They're growing wild in the yard. So I'll just leave it at that. So I don't need to do much on that front. We will be growing lettuce again. We'll grow lettuce this winter, and at some point we'll probably have to stop growing it because when it gets hot enough, the lettuce just doesn't love it. I'll definitely be growing some of the Salanova from Johnny's. Salanova seed is extremely expensive in comparison to most other seeds, but it has usually darn close to 100% germination. And we do it as a cut and come again, so we take off individual leaves and we can make a lettuce last for months. Probably grow some of some romaine and probably some of the Muir 50. 50. It's not called Muir 50, it's called Muir. The 50 is the number of days for it. Again, lettuce is one of those things that you can grow as either cut and come again or harvest ahead, and you can choose different varieties. Some of them are ready in 35, 40 days, others take longer. And by balancing that act and figuring out how fast you need things, you can adjust your production. It's worth the effort to me if I'm going to grow stuff to not be wasting stuff. I don't have chickens, I don't have pigs, I don't have goats. I have a pussycat right now, and she doesn't like lettuce. So it seems fair that we just plan for ourselves. We do occasionally give it away, but to me, no. I just want to focus on what we're going to eat. I am planning to try and grow some parsnips again this year. Parsnips look like white carrots. They take 120 days. So what I would need to do is do a timing of it so that they will come ready in the fall because they're better if they've had a frost. I have a cat stomping around here. What are you doing, cat? I can't see it, but I can hear it. They are much sweeter if you harvest them after they've been frosted. So that's another odd thing. We haven't grown them in a couple of years. The variety we used to get was not available for a while. Now we've got a variety we're comfortable with again. We're going to try it. We tried another variety that we didn't like the flavor of. So we've gone back to white spear. It's trying to think if that's an open pollinated one or not. Yeah, that's an OP. And so we've got a package of that. We can get through that through Johnny's. I'm sure there's other people that have it. It's a standard model, so to speak. Peas. Peas are a real potluck game here. Our spring often comes so quickly that it's a waste of water to try and keep them alive. They are also extremely susceptible to thrips, which have become a major pain around here in the last 5 years. I have some hoss peas. I'm going to try it again this year. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to plant the quantity. I used to plant huge quantities, but I'm trying Mr. Big Pea, which seems reasonable. What the heck is the cat doing? Oh, you're playing with it. She's playing with one of her mouse toys. I'm like, what the heck is she doing? So we're going to try that again. Because we go, like I say, from cool to incredibly hot, fast sometimes in the spring, peas can be potluck. But I think we're going to try again. You can start them ahead of time in the greenhouse and transplant them out. We have done that before successfully. I got to see. I got to decide whether I'm going to try to plant them directly into the garden with a cover to warm the soil ahead of time, or what I'm going to do. That hasn't been formulated yet. But our last day of frost is like, I forget, May or June. So it's a while. I have time. Peppers. I do not normally eat peppers very much. I get a stomachache if I eat too many of them. And Henry likes peppers. I will normally save my peppers for chili. So, hey, will you stop making so much noise? Can we move your mousey? She's playing right next to a box, so it keeps bonking the box. Isa, here. Psst. Never ceases to amaze me how noisy cats can be when they run. Anyway, so she's now in the kitchen being happy and carrying her mouse back in here. Well, that didn't work very long. But maybe she won't bang on the box next to me at least. Anyway, so our favorite pepper currently for growing is Mamma Mia Rosso, which is a hoss pepper. It is a, let me see what they call it technically. Other things are not as informative as some of the other guys are. It is a roasting pepper. It's designed for roasting on the barbecue and things like that. It's a big pepper. It comes out about that big. It's sweet. It's not spicy. And I'll be growing those again. I have a couple of them in the greenhouse that I'm overwintering. I don't know if they're going to make it or not. These pepper plants are 2 years old right now. You can overwinter pepper plants if you have some place where you can kind of let them go dormant in the winter. But I have a couple in there. We'll see if they make it. If they don't make it, I'll start new ones. How's that? Radishes. I don't like radishes. We mentioned that earlier, but my husband does. So I will be growing Sora. I have a pile of old radish seeds in here, and I'll gradually be using them up. We have experimented over the years with a gazillion different ones. Sora is his favorite little red round radish, you know, your classic radish. We have tried the Shunkyo semi-long radishes last year from Haas. Some of those got quite hot, but, you know, Cherry Belle is also a good one. Roxanne was a decent one. Champion is a good one. And I want to play with watermelon radishes. Something happened wrong with that last year, and I don't remember what. But I have a whole stack of them, but my go-to, if I have no other space for radishes, is Sora. Let's see. Soy, that's kind of under the bean thing. Our regular one, whose name, Toho, T-O-H, Toyo, T-O-H-Y-O, is not available this year, at least now. So we are buying Chiba instead. It is another one that is highly recommended. It is a Johnny's product. I know that Haas had some soy last year. I don't remember what variety they had, but I decided I would just stick with the Johnny's. We like edamame, which is green soybeans. There's very few things in the world better than a big pot of freshly cooked soybeans, and you just sit there and you pop them out of the pods, and they're delicious. Just a little bit of salted water when you cook them. That thumping is Isa. She's now playing with her bed with the mouse stuffed underneath it, because we have to do this while Mom's trying to do a video. Spinach. We love spinach. Our absolute favorite one is probably Seaside. We have other ones. We have experimented with a few other varieties to see if they are better on heat. I believe that Lizard was one of them they recommended for heat. Space is another one, but we always come back to Seaside. So sometimes I will plant, hiccups. Sometimes I will plant different varieties just to have something different going on. But the Seaside is a 30-day spinach. Space is 25, and Lizard is 28. We like spinach fresh in salad, and I make a mean spinach salad. I also love spinach turned into spinach dip with lots and lots of cheese and sometimes even artichokes and stuff like that. So that's kind of a main part. It's something we really enjoy usually in the winter. We do occasionally eat it cooked, but mostly we eat it raw in salads. Watermelon. Oh, so this one got tucked. I got out of order in terms of my lettering. So if I stay with the lettering concept, it's squash. In the past, we have grown a wide variety of squash. We do zucchini, yellow squash, patty pan, a couple of different kinds of patty pans, and butternut, all kinds of stuff. 4 or 5 years ago, there was a deal going on with Haas where if you bought a certain amount and you used the special code, you got a free pack of Golden Delight zucchini, which is a yellow zucchini. And if I were to say we never looked back, would you think I might have liked it? We were in love. It is, I don't know why we were growing zucchini. It's just like, it seemed like something you had to do because you could get a zillion piles of it out of there. But honestly, I don't love zucchini. It's okay. I like yellow squash better. And the Golden Delight zucchini from Haas is just awesome. It's kind of like the best of both worlds. It's prolific. It's delicious. In general, what we prefer is patty pan squashes. We like the fact that it's a very dense flesh. It's not as watery. It doesn't go seedy as easily. So this year we will be growing the Golden Delight zucchini, which is the yellow zucchini. We will not be growing any green zucchini. We will have White Star patty pan, probably Gold Star yellow squash, which is a regular yellow, and probably some South Anna butternut squash. We grew that a couple of years ago, successfully, and wound up with this enormous quantity of fruit. I want to do better about using it the next time around because we didn't use it as effectively as we could have. I found a couple of butternut squash recipes that I really like. So, yeah, that was on us. That wasn't anything that the squash did wrong.